Hi guys, welcome back to my channel at Jess Creates. Today I've got a bit of a project for you, and it's kind of going to be a festival mini album. So I've put together myself a kit of embellishments and cards and washi tapes, and I've got all my memorabilia. And what I've done is I've cut down some just white card, just cheap white card, and I've cut it to the same size as a 6x8 page protector, and punched holes in it so that it's going to go into my mini album along with lots of pocket pages that are going to have photos in. Now, I did Download Festival 6 years running, from 2006 to 2011, so I have a lot of stuff, a lot of photos, a lot of memories. So what I'm doing is I like to stick to a bit of a routine when I'm doing mini projects so that it's continuity. So for this, what I'm doing, each year is going to have a page, an introductory page like this. I'm using that little Ali Edwards Here's the Story card in place of where I'm going to put that year's lineup. So the bands that played that year are going to go into that little space. So I'm using that as a bit of a card holder while I don't actually have those photos just yet. So each page is going to have the lineup on and any other memorabilia I've got for that year. So bits of the programme, bits from the lanyard, a CD, maps, notes that I have, and my handwritten set list. So here I'm just setting up this page. This is for my first year, for my 2006, and I'm using one of those Heidi Swap envelopes that I'm going to put some hidden journaling into. It was my first year, so there's lots of memories, and some of them do not need to be visible to everybody. I pondered over that other side of that envelope because it said cherish on it, and it just was lovely in its gold foil, but that's not how I wanted to use it. So for each page I'm just putting some washi tape. I've selected some washi tapes that I want to use for this project, so they're all going to be the same. So I've selected some washi tapes for the top and bottom of each page, and I just felt like that page needed some more because it's a festival theme and because it's Download Festival, which is predominantly quite heavy rock music. I'm kind of going for dark colours. So I've used some of the page flags from the Mrs. Brumble's kit, and I've punched stars out of them because they're quite big. So I'm kind of using those all over everything. And here, this is my 2007 page, and for that I still have my ticket, which is awesome, and that little page out of the lanyard. And then I kind of think, do I want it to flip out? Do I want to be able to see the other side? But I decide that you're not really losing anything by not seeing that side. It's fairly similar design to what's on the ticket. And so there, I've got the map on there as well. I think for this year I'm putting the lineup on the other side. Now the other side of each page I'm leaving totally blank because that's what I'm going to use for my journaling. For each year I want to do a big amount of journaling that kind of sums up that entire year, if I can remember and separate them in my mind, because 6 years in a row, and it was quite a long time ago, they kind of run together in my head. So I'm going to do a big amount of journaling for each one, and possibly some additional journaling in the pockets with the photos when I get round to doing those. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to share those processes. Some of the photos have people in them that aren't in my life anymore, or that I might not be comfortable saying, can I publish your face on YouTube? So, but I thought this was kind of a nice process because it really is just cards and ephemera, memorabilia, bits and pieces, kind of worth seeing. So this is 2008. I didn't have the ticket or anything for this, but what I did have is a CD that I made. I mean, I think it was that year. I'm guessing it was that year, of some of my favourite bands and tracks that were going to be at the festival that year. So hopefully, you know, in a few years time when I want to look back on this album, CD players will still be a thing. and I hope that that CD isn't too scratched and that it will actually play. For this year, this is 2009 now, I actually have the programme, which I'm very pleased that I bought that year, because they weren't cheap and most of the money that I took was kind of for food. So I've just washi taped those 2 pages together, and that is basically going to be that whole front page, and just put some clear tape on the inside. I really like that I'm going to be able to look back and see the kind of setup that the festival had, where the arena was and where the campsites were. I'm just using some cork numbers from, I think, an Ali Edwards kit, either Ali Edwards or a Studio Calico kit, on a tag, which is, I think, Maggie Holmes' Chasing Dreams from the Like Forever kit. So I'm just sticking that all down with my Crafters Companion adhesive. It kind of looks on the video like you can't see the 09 numbers very clearly, but in person it does look a little bit clearer than it does on there. So now I've moved on to 2010, just washi taping all the edges. And for this one I had my ticket, which I've actually broken down because as it was, it still had some of the, it kind of had the stubs left on. I can't have taken them that year for some reason. So I've just added one of them onto there. And I'm still using that card just to show me where I'm going to have my lineup. And for this year I also had this handwritten list, which had all the bands and times. It was basically my programme that I'd made for myself. Once the times were released for the bands, I wrote down who I was going to see, at what times and what stages and all that kind of stuff. So I'm using that. That opens out. So I've just added my ticket onto the side, and just cut the edge off a bit. And I'm going to add the lineup onto that sheet as well. And then I'm just kind of looking through them all together now that they're all sort of done and all the bits that I needed to put in are in. I'm just looking through, adding some more of those galaxy themed stars from the Brimbles box, and I think a phrase sticker that was from Ali Edwards. Now I can't remember what kit that was from, but it kind of said a story about. And then I'm just going through using some tiny word stickers, adding some phrases on them all. So here are my completed pages inside the album. I've added on the lineups, so that's 2006. For 2007 I'm adding the lineup to the back of it when I add my journaling. So for now I've just tucked it into that pocket with the CD for 2008. That's 2009. I haven't really added much to that page. For 2010 I changed the sticky word label and added underneath some washi that says "Make Today Amazing." And that's 2011. Thanks for watching.